Hi. Sí, ya sé que quedé de mandarte el proyecto. Perdóname, es que me quedé dormida. Yes, I am using the same verbs. No, they don't mean the same thing. You see, in Spanish, we have some pair of verbs, I call them the doppelgangers, and they look the same. However, they are not identical. They have different meanings. In this video, I'm going to teach you the difference between three pairs that are easily confused in Spanish. So you're going to learn what's the difference between quedar, quedarse, acabar and acabarse, despedir and despedirse. I'm also going to give you a quiz so you can test your knowledge on these verbs, and I'm going to give you other pairs of verbs that you need to watch out for. Hi everyone, this is Daniela from Tell Me in Spanish y estoy aquí para ayudarles a hablar español de forma más natural. In Spanish, we have what we call pronominal verbs. I know, the name doesn't help. What is the deal with these pronominal verbs? Pronominal verbs are verbs that end with se. And this se is going to tell you that when you conjugate, you need to use pronominal pronouns. You might know them as reflexives. These are me, te, se, nos, and os if you're learning Castilian Spanish. I'm going to use Lord of the Rings to explain you this concept. You remember how we can tell if we're dealing with a Smeagol or Gollum based on the behavior? Pronominals work similar to this concept. When you see this ending, number one, you know that you need a pronominal pronoun when conjugating, and number two, in some cases, this ending is going to change the meaning of the verb, which means that you must to be careful. Let me show you. We're going to start with quedar versus quedarse. The non-pronominal form quedar means to be left, to agree, or to fit. For example, Juan y Clara quedaron de verse mañana. Juan and Clara agreed to see each other tomorrow. Maybe they are on a date. Solo nos quedan dos galletas. We have 2 cookies left. Why do I always have such a bad luck with the cookies? However, when you use the pronominal form quedarse, you're saying something completely different. You're saying that you are staying in a place. For example, yo me quedé en mi casa. I stay home. I didn't want to go out, so I stay home. Another example. Nos quedamos viendo televisión. We stayed watching TV. If you use a gerund, such as viendo, you can express what activity you stayed doing. If you don't want to say it, you just say, me quedé en mi casa, or me quedé en la oficina working. The next pair is despedir versus despedirse. One is very polite, and the other one is very sad news. Let me show you. Despedir without se means to fire, that someone lost his or her job. For example, despidieron a Susana. Susana was fired. Notice that you're going to use the preposition a to introduce the person who was fired. Another example. ¿No te despidieron? You didn't get fired? That's a relief. Wait a minute. You just said that despedir doesn't work with pronominals. So why are we using te in here? That's a great question. Remember that in Spanish, unfortunately, many of these pronouns repeat themselves. Sometimes are going to be reflexive, but in other cases, they are going to be direct or indirect object pronouns. In this case, with despedir, the non-pronominal form, we're going to use direct object pronouns. No te despidieron, no la despidieron, okay? The pronominal form, despedirse, is a polite expression. It means to say goodbye. You see, there is a big difference if you confuse these verbs. For example, Julia no se despidió de mí. Julia didn't say goodbye. We're not friends anymore. ¿Te despediste de tus tías? Did you say goodbye to your aunts? That's a question that my mom used to ask me all the time. I just hate goodbyes. The last pair, acabar versus acabarse. Acabar, the non-pronominal form, means to finish. You're going to use it when you're expressing that you finish doing something. For example, no acabamos el proyecto. We didn't finish the project. It was so long, we couldn't finish it. Acabo de ver a tu hermana. I just saw your sister. We were buying cookies, the two of us. Check this structure because it's going to help you sound very natural. Acabar plus de plus infinitive, acabo de ver, means I just did something. Acabo de ver a tu hermana. I just saw your sister. Acabo de comer. I just ate. Okay? The pronominal form, acabarse, focuses on the fact that you run out of something. And this something can be something physical, like food, or something more abstract, like time. For example, nos acabamos tus galletas. We finished your cookies. I need friends that don't eat my food. ¿Quién se acabó la leche? Who finished the milk? Se acabó el tiempo. Time is over. Check that even though in English you share the same difference between the pronominal and the non-pronominal form, in Spanish, the difference is big. One is I finished doing something, and the other one, I ran out of something, okay? So now that you see the difference, you can notice that when you use it, there's going to be big changes in meaning in some cases. Other pairs of verbs that behave like these three are ir versus irse. Ir means to go, irse means to leave. I'm going to leave you a link in the description so you can see a video on the difference between this pair. Llamar versus llamarse. Llamar is to call and llamarse is used to say someone's name. Me llamo Daniela. Comer versus comerse. Comer is used to talk about eating habits, and comerse is used to emphasize what you eat. I'm going to leave you a link on the description so you can check the difference between this pair. Finally, llevar versus llevarse. Llevar means to take something from point A to point B, and llevarse is used to talk about relationships. Yo no me llevo bien con ella. I don't get along very well with her. So now that you see the difference, I'm going to give you a quiz with these three pairs that you just learned, and your job is going to be very simple. I'm going to give you 5 sentences. I'm going to give you the verb in infinitive form, and it's up to you, based on the context, to decide if you need to use a pronoun or no. You're going to conjugate the verb in present tense, okay? Number 1. Los viernes, Marta, blank, en casa. You're going to use quedar. Number 2. Tom, nunca, blank, de Lucy. You are going to use despedir. Number 3. Chicos, ¿a qué hora, blank, su tarea? You're going to use acabar. Number 4. Yo siempre, blank, las galletas. You're going to use acabar. And finally, mis jefes van a, blank, a Luis. You're going to keep this one in infinitive form. However, if it needs a pronoun, you have to place that pronoun before van or after despedir, okay? So leave your answers in the comments and I'm going to give you feedback if you need it. Before we finish this video, I want to give you some additional resources just in case you need to go a little bit deeper into this topic. The first one is a video, this same lesson just in Spanish. That way you get to practice your listening a little bit more. The second one is a guide on pronominal verbs. You're going to learn more about these verbs and you're going to see more examples of how to use them. And finally, I'm going to leave you a link to our resource on how to conjugate reflexive verbs. You're going to learn where to place the pronoun correctly depending on the tense. So that's it for today, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and I hope to see you soon. Bye!